Is it hard to date being Jake Gyllenhaal?
I mean, I don't know. That's a trick question.
You're one of those guys, you keep the relationships on the down low.
Gyllenhaal was only 22 years old when they started dating, and Dunst was even younger.
She's 20. I believe he's 29, verge of 30. There's photos of her on her 21st birthday, like crying at the studio because he didn't show up. And the reason they broke up, as revealed in All Too Well, is because of age.
Jake is mortified that Taylor targeted him for dating a 25-year-old on her new album.
So there's a line in the song that says, "I'll get older, but your lovers will stay the same."
Jake Gyllenhaal is the worst boyfriend in Hollywood. For years, he's been going after vulnerable women within the industry without any consequences. Taylor Swift tried to warn the world and expose his predatory behavior, but Jake Gyllenhaal was able to escape without any backlash. This is his messy love life, so let's get into it. Jake Gyllenhaal has a reputation not just for acting, but for his romantic life, because he's known as one of the biggest players out here. Behind the scenes, he's one of Hollywood's biggest F-boys. He dates young, disappears fast, and somehow always avoids the fallout. From blindsiding exes to dodging accountability, Jake's love life has been a PR-managed mess for years. And even though he's been a terrible boyfriend to so many different stars, the media continues to give him a pass. So in this video, we're going to take a deep dive into Jake Gyllenhaal's dating history and uncover the pattern between his relationships. Like, why are people calling him a groomer? Why are people saying that he's a heartbreaker?
Are you dating now? No. Is it hard to date being Jake Gyllenhaal?
I mean, I don't know. That's a trick question. I think to me, it's like, I really like love my family. I'm all about family. I'm really, really focused on my work too, so that's the thing right now. For the past few years, really, trying to, get a little better than 11-year-old actors.
Yeah, tell me about it. So, you gotta work with that.
That's been a big focus of mine.
Would you say though that you have like really good game, like when it comes to maybe seeing someone you're like, oh, they're interesting. Let me see if I can go spit game.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
If I pull out Nightcrawler game, I feel like they'll be dead on the street at the end of the day.
There's a lot of history here, and to start off this video, I want to take you guys back to 2002. Kirsten Dunst and Jake Gyllenhaal began dating back in September 2002 after being introduced by the actor's sister, Maggie Gyllenhaal. It looks like Maggie had also starred in Mona Lisa's Smile with Kirsten, and she must have liked her enough to go and push her onto her brother Jake. Things moved very quickly for these two. They moved into a $1.7 million home in LA and even adopted a German Shepherd puppy. Aww. But by July 2004, the two had called it quits. Quote, Kirsten and Jake remained the best of friends, but details regarding why they had broken up were private. Now, of course, they don't want the world to know why they had actually broken up. Jake actually kept their dog Atticus, who died in 2015. Rest in peace to Atticus.
Kirsten and Jake didn't exactly stay friends. Gyllenhaal was only 22 years old when they started dating, and Dunst was even younger. It actually turns out that they had a bit of a custody battle, deciding who would be the one to keep him later. Oh, I'm too young to get married, she said just 2 months before their breakup was announced. Seriously, I'm 22 years old. It's so annoying that they put pressure on you. Gyllenhaal too remained surprisingly grounded when it came to Dunst and media frenzy, confessing in the interview, Kirsten and I know what's real and what's not, he revealed. We know what happens when you're both actors.
But at this point in their lives, their career was so important to them that pretty much every public appearance was manufactured. Kirsten said that their personalities didn't match, that he was a stay-at-home boy and she's I'm an out-on-the-town type of girl, which I'm more of a Jake when it comes down to it. I mean, I do like to go out and have some social interactions, but also home is my favorite place to be. Comment below if you guys agree. But because their relationship was so intense, they lived in this home together, they shared a puppy together, they actually had been broken up for quite some time before the public even realized. So they were going out, being seen by paparazzis and acting like they were together even though they weren't.
The day Jake Gyllenhaal and Kirsten Dunst announced their split was a wild one for the tabloid press. While their spokesperson was telling the media that Jake and Kirsten had broken up, he also dropped another bombshell. It seems they actually broke up some time ago and were reluctant to announce it for a long time. Naturally, this came as a bit of a shock to the paparazzi who had been covering the couple, since it apparently went unnoticed up until that point.
Now, when it comes to Kirsten, you don't have to feel bad about her. It turns out that she's already married a fellow actor named Jesse Plemons. They met in 2015 when they were starring in the series Fargo. They quietly got married in July 2022, so Kirsten is okay. She found her one. Reese Witherspoon, on the other hand, had a very different experience with Jake Gyllenhaal. Jake met Reese back in 2007 on the set of Redemption, which you guys will see there is a pattern here where these stars always meet each other on some kind of set. Back in November 2008, Reese said that he was a very supportive boyfriend. So they kicked off the relationship in 2007. Then in 2008, we saw them traveling the world together, and in 2009, they were still strong. In October 2009, she said, "We spend the weekends out of LA and Hawaii, where I have a farmhouse. We have chickens, we grow cucumbers and tomatoes. I love it. It reminds me of where I grew up in Tennessee." So at this point, it seemed like Jake and Reese were really settled down. I mean, they don't just have the home, but they have the garden and everything else. But just a month after Reese gave that interview, it was revealed that the two had split up. So Reese did that interview talking about their farmhouse and how happy they were, but then a month later, a source revealed that the two had split up. And that's a pretty quick turnaround to go and do an interview and to talk about how much you love this man, and then a month later, your whole life has fallen apart.
Co-star in rendition and ex-girlfriend, Reese Witherspoon.
I've never acted with her. You know, we've been in the same movie, but I've never acted with her. But she is, as I would say about most of the women who are close friends or I've had relationships with in my life, like one of the smartest, strongest people I've ever met.
Now moving on to Taylor Swift, because that's where Jake found himself in big trouble. You do not want to go against the Swifties. The pair first made headlines in 2010 when they were spotted together in New York City. That same year, it seemed like their relationship had gotten pretty intense because they even spent Thanksgiving together, which I love Thanksgiving. I love a good gravy, some good turkey. I think that's all I don't like stuffing. I'm sorry, bad take, but it's just too like mushy. But their relationship was short-lived. We didn't know much about their relationship at the time, but just wait because Taylor Swift reveals a lot. We learned about the relationship through a song that Taylor Swift had released, All Too Well, which honestly gives me goosebumps when I hear that because it's such a great and beautiful song. It really tells the story of this vulnerable girl being taken advantage of by this man. Taylor sings about a man who blamed a breakup on their age difference, saying, quote, "You said if we had been closer in age, maybe it would have been fine, and that made me want to die." Now, Taylor Swift is a secretive, sneaky artist out here, and I love her for that because she's never really confirmed that this is about Jake, but we all know all too well. There are a number of references about her relationship with Jake Gyllenhaal in this song. There's a line about getting lost upstate, which the couple were seen picking apples in upstate New York during their relationship. And more famously, Taylor sings, "And I left my scarf there at your sister's house, and you've got it in your drawer even now," which is a reference to that Thanksgiving we were just talking about, because actually Maggie, his sister, was hosting that Thanksgiving get together, and I think she still believes that he's got her scarf. Which is a little bit weird because if you don't want to be with this person, like, why are you holding on to this kind of like a trophy? Like, why does it remind me of like when the serial killers like keep like a necklace or something? I don't know. Comment below. Do you guys keep anything from your exes? Oh, you must have good exes then, because I don't even want to think about mine. But it is interesting that Taylor brings up their age in this song, because there is a rather big age gap, which I do think feeds into the power dynamics.
I'm going to explain the Taylor and Jake relationship in 60 seconds. So they start dating in October 2010. She's 20. I believe he's 29, verge of 30, because they're both twin flames and Sagittariuses. There's not a lot of photographic evidence of the relationship other than the iconic like one where they're walking down with like the fall leaves and he's wearing the beanie and her arms like kind of draped over him. And then the one with her and his sister, and then obviously the one where she's wearing the scarf, the Gucci scarf that later he is wearing after they break up. So they start dating October, November. It gets rocky from November to December. I think the relationship ends after her 21st birthday, which is December 13th. He doesn't show up. He ends up buying her a $11,000 guitar to make up for it. There's photos of her on her 21st birthday like crying at the studio because he didn't show up. And the reason they broke up, as revealed in All Too Well, is because of age.
Now, when Taylor Swift released this extended version of All Too Well, Jake could not keep quiet. I mean, he really couldn't. I mean, why would he? Because the world hated him at this moment. He actually said, quote, "It has nothing to do with me." This song. It's about her relationship with her fans. It's her expression. Artists tap into personal experiences for inspiration, and I don't begrudge anyone that. Now, I'm not a literary expert. I don't begrudge. Begrudge? Okay, I guess that's a word. I know the word grudge, so I'm just gonna go with that. So Jake might not be holding a grudge, but he's trying to wipe his hands clean of this All Too Well situation.
Jake is mortified that Taylor targeted him for dating a 25-year-old on her new album. That very much gives off the same energy as, yes, I treated you badly in front of my friends, but that's not the problem. The problem is the way you reacted to it. How dare you act hurt when I did something hurtful to you? And it's not about you, babes. It's about Taylor and her art. If you feel called out for that, Maybe instead of being mortified that Taylor called you out for dating a 25-year-old, maybe you should be mortified that you're in your 40s and still dating girls in their early 20s. Just a thought.
Now, even though Jake Gyllenhaal felt the heat from that Taylor Swift track, there are a lot of people who also try to shift blame and blame Taylor herself. Like this person on Reddit says that Taylor's just mad, that they were in a relationship 10 years ago and it sounds like she's not over it. They say that she's dragging him through the mud, being a bad boyfriend, but it's not a crime to be a bad boyfriend. I've seen a lot of people calling him a predator for being 30 and dating a 20-year-old, which, you know what, it's technically illegal and I totally get that, so you can't go and call him a perv, but I can't imagine being like 30-something years old and wanting to date someone who can't even like share a glass of wine with me. Another person wrote on Reddit, all these breakup songs by Taylor, and you know what? I think she needs to start looking inward, and it's a possibility that, you know, she's a terrible girlfriend with unrealistic expectations. I would be careful right there, trying to come after Taylor like that. Now, there are others who argue that Taylor Swift's experience is all too real. Taylor Swift revisiting her 10-year-old breakup with an older man reflects a particular feeling where women remember relationships they had with older men in their teens and 20s and wake up and realize, wait, was I exploited by this creep? It's kind of like that hindsight bias. Now that she's a little bit older, 10 years later, she's like, wait, I was so naive back then. And now that I'm 30-something, Jake should have known better. And while the dirty details do not help Jake's case, at the end of the day, a 9-year age gap is not illegal. And he technically did not, I guess, he wasn't a predator in this situation. I mean, we don't know how long they knew each other. I heard people say that he had groomed her in some aspects, but you guys will have to figure that out in the comments below. Fortunately for Jake, Taylor Swift is not in his sphere anymore because he has moved on. But I do have a question for Jake if he still has that scarf somewhere. Maybe his current partner actually threw it out. They've been together since 2018, and if I were her, I would be looking through those drawers trying to find that scarf and get it out of here. So Jake has been dating this woman named Jeanne since 2018. And it seems like he's in love with her. I don't think he'll be marrying her anytime soon because that's just not who Jake Gyllenhaal is, but he went on to the Howard Stern show to boast about her, saying that she is the most amazing woman he's ever met.
I think you're gonna get married. I did some research. I was looking at pictures of your girlfriend. I watched you guys, and you're, you know, you don't bring just anybody anywhere. You're one of those guys, you keep the relationships on the down low. You're out there, man. I mean, now I see you're in love.
I love her so much.
We don't hear much about Jeanne, and that's by design. Jake said, it's no secret I'm in a relationship, and it's a wonderful relationship, but we are private, and I guess it's just who we are. Interestingly enough, it looks like Jeanne is also 16 years younger than he is. There seems to be a pattern here. I mean, well, he dated Kirsten when he was 22. She was 20. He was 29 when he dated a 20-year-old Taylor, and it looks like now he's dating a 28-year-old. Which seems like a little young for him, but you know Hollywood, they all think they're younger than they actually are.
So there's a line in the song that says, I'll get older, but your lovers will stay the same. As a scholar of AP statistics, I thought that I was qualified to plot this. So here we go. We have Jake Gyllenhaal's age. He keeps going up on a steady trend, and then his girlfriends at the time are all over the place, and we'll get into it. So he starts off with singer Jenny Lewis, who's 20 at the time, and he's 25, which is totally fair. We'll give it to him. And then they break up, and he starts dating Kirsten Dunst, who's just 2 years difference than him. He dates Kristen for a while, and they have a beautiful 2-year age difference relationship, and then he starts dating Natalie Portman, so he's creeping into a relationship where he could almost be younger. When things end with Natalie, he actually goes for the older woman and starts dating Reese Witherspoon, who's 4-year age difference. When things end with Reese, she should have hit him with not a spoon, but with a hammer, because bam, we get to the shit show that we all know and love. In 2010, Jake starts dating Taylor. There's a 10-year age difference. It's a 3-month relationship, and he shatters her heart. When he breaks things off with Taylor, he goes into what I like to call the battle of the brunettes. In early 2011, Jake starts dating Anna Kendrick. There's a 5-year age difference between the two of them. Then he just leans into the curve. Jake dates Jessica Londes in 2011. There is a 9-year age difference between the two of them. Jake starts to get a little uncomfortable here, and then he starts dating Minka Kelly, and she is just under his age. So he's recovered nicely, but then it gets really bad for Jake. Jake starts dating Emily Dianato, model and TikToker that we know and love. There's a 12-year age difference here. Not looking great for Jake. In 2013, he starts dating Alyssa Miller. There is an 11-year age difference here, so still not the best. Jake tries to recover with dating Ruth Wilson. There's just a few-year age difference between the two. And that brings us to 2018 with his now girlfriend, Jeanne Cadieu. I'm going to butcher that. I think it's French. There is, as you can see, a major age difference. Jake is 37 when they start dating, and she's 22. I can't do math. That is a 15-year age difference.
At least there's a little bit of hope here because it seems like he bounces around when it comes to age. It's not like a Leonardo DiCaprio situation where once you turn 25, you are out the door. But this comment reads, "This is just a trend with famous men." There's a Tumblr post with men and the ages of their girlfriends at the time, and it's borderline disgusting when these men are in their 40s and 50s dating women in their early 20s. Another person writes, "Does anyone else remember when Jake Gyllenhaal was doing press for Spider-Man Far From Home and he kept calling 23-year-old Tom Holland a kid while dating someone the exact same age as Tom?" I don't mean to call out Jake specifically, but the difference is how he considers a 23-year-old guy a kid and a 24-year-old girl girlfriend material.
I really adored playing him, and I also loved working with Tom Holland. And I short of sounding like a total sycophant and saying to everybody what every actor says about their co-star when they're in a press junket, I really truly do love the kid.
But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you guys have any video ideas for me, comment below. Send me an email at SloanWellKnown@gmail.com. It doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be like, "Hey, Sloan, how are you?" I don't need an intro, a body, a conclusion. You can just send it in the subject. Just be like, "Talk about this," and I will. So thank you guys for being here, and I'll see you in a new one soon. Bye, guys.